Hey, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today we're going to be making a sin-free steak bake. Now of course there are different variations that you can pop inside as a filling, and that's completely up to yourself and your personal preference, but today I was really in the mood for one and I thought, yeah, I'm definitely going to make it and I'm going to show you guys at home. It might be useful. So what you can do is you can buy chunky steak or steak and gravy or whatever it is from different supermarkets. Check your Slimming World app, check your book, and also just check when you're in the supermarket as well. You can scan the barcodes, of course, when you've got the app enabled on your phone. Now what I will say is the one that I have today is from M&S, purely because the Asda that I went to didn't have it in stock, even though they do have it on the app as being free. But they didn't have it in the shop. They also didn't have it in Tesco, so the closest other shop that I could have tried was M&S, and I have had it from there before. It's reliable, it's always in stock, and yeah, it's maybe a little bit more expensive than Tesco's and Asda's, but if you really want it as a treat, personally for me, it's definitely worth it. So this is what the tin looks like. It's definitely went up in price since the last time I bought it over a year ago, to be honest. Now this is not something I would make on a regular basis, of course, it is a treat. But basically what this is just British beef in a rich gravy. So it's like braised steak in a gravy sauce, and it is delicious. So it's 75% beef, you've got beef stock in there, tomato puree, corn flour. It's also got some allergens in there, so including gluten, wheat flour. Also has some white wine vinegar, salt and oil as well. And this is completely free. There are no sins attached to this. So what you could also do is serve it up as suggested on the tin with some potatoes and some green beans, or you could serve it up with some light phyllo pastry on the top as a bit of a sort of pie or a steak pie sort of alternative to save yourselves on some sins. So steak pie is quite a traditional thing that you would eat within Scotland on, say, like a Sunday for a dinner, or you would have it on like New Year's Day as a bit of a sort of celebratory dinner that you would have at that time of the year with your family. Certainly something that my gran made a lot of whilst I was young, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it's not something I make actively as an adult. However, you can't beat your gran's cooking, can you? So, but certainly for me, this one, as I said, I've had before from M&S, and it is delicious. It's really, really flavoursome. There's a lot of strong beefy flavourness to that, and I think in a lot of other brands, which I have had before, are maybe just not quite as good, but of course it is cheaper, so you've got to weigh that up a little bit, haven't you? So we'll pop that down. What we're going to use today to make our steak bake is our Weight Watchers white wraps. Now they are high in fibre, they're low in fat, they're 120 calories per wrap, they're suitable for vegans, they're made with rapeseed oil, and they're also really good for freezing, which I have done on many occasions. So you get 6 wraps in a pack, and these are a healthy extra B choice. So that's what they look like for anyone who's maybe not seen them before. And you can pick them up in like Tesco's, Asda's, Morrison's, etc. It's not a problem, and they're always in stock, to be fair. And if you aren't using your healthy extra B choice, these are 5.5 sins per wrap. So really you could have what we're going to make today for 5.5 sins rather than 20 odd sins for the steak bake on its own from Greggs or whatever, however many sins it is. Or you could use it as your healthy extra B choice, as I'm going to do today, and it will be completely sin free. Now I'm going to serve mine with the Bird's Eye Steam Fresh vegetables. Now you can get these from your local supermarket of their own brand, and often they are cheaper than Bird's Eye, but Bird's Eye had a deal on, which was why I bought the Bird's Eye ones, because it worked out actually the same or slightly cheaper than I think Asda's own brand. And it's got the same stuff in it. It's carrots, sweet corn and broccoli, which is personally my favourite. You can also get ones with cauliflower and things in them as well, but just always double check that there are no sins attached. And yeah, so we're going to pop one of these into the microwave with our steak bake, and it cooks in about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes or so. So always just make sure that it is definitely cooked all the way through and you don't have any frozen bits of cauliflower or broccoli or carrots or whatever it is in there, because from experience, having a little bit of frozen cauliflower or broccoli in the middle of your meal is not good. It doesn't taste good. And yeah, it's funny because sometimes you pop it in the microwave and you think, obviously it's a powerful appliance to use, one little bit of it can ruin it if it's not cooked properly, and it's strange that that happens, but it does, and we all know it does. So yeah, we pop that down. And I'm also going to be using about a third of this bag, so butternut squash chunks, and this is from Food Warehouse or Iceland. You can also pop this into your microwave as well, and this takes about 3 or 3.5 minutes to cook. Again, making sure that you stir it, making sure that it's all cooked all the way through, and this is also a speed food, so that's good. Of course, our carrots are speed, our broccoli is speed, and our sweet corn kernels aren't a speed food, they're a free food, but they are delicious and I love them. So yeah, really happy with that. And last but not least, our final sort of ingredient, I suppose, today is an egg. So our egg will be whisked up. We won't add any salt or pepper or anything like that to it because it's not required, but we will use a little brush just to brush over our wrap with the egg, and it will also help us a little bit of a glue around the edge, and it means we can press it down with a fork just so it's all sealed together. Now, what I will do is just show you this little sort of nifty gadget, if you like. It's called a crimpet. So crimpet is basically a little tray, a little black tray that also has a lid, and the lid is crimped as per the name. And basically what you do is you pop your bread or your sort of Warburton's thins or whatever it is into the box, and you put your fillings inside, your other thin or bit of bread on top, and you squash it down, and it comes out like a bit of a sort of pizza or pasta or sandwich pocket. So I done a little bit of a sort of mock one for yourselves at home if you guys want to see how it would work with bread. Of course, the bread that I'm using today is not a healthy extra. It is just bread my husband and my stepson had been eating, and it's now sort of quite stale. So we're going to get rid of it today by giving it to the ducks. But certainly this this is what it would look like as a little pocket if you were to use bread instead of a wrap, or if you were to use one of your little Warburton's thins or whatever it is as well. So it's quite a crimped edge on that, so it's pretty secure. Of course, there's no filling in this, it is just bread. And I did do it just a bit as a mock so you guys could see what it would look like. But again, I think this would work really well with the steak inside of it. Of course, you can put ham and cheese and tomato. You could put chicken, spicy chicken, whatever it is that you want inside it. You could make it vegetarian. You could put sort of like peppers, spinach, you know, and cheese and things like that inside of it. So it's completely up to you what you do, but obviously today we are going to be doing a steak version of our pasty or steak bake using our wrap. Now, just before I move on to doing that, what we're basically going to be doing today is putting in the cold filling. So it's really important that it's cold, because if you pop it in hot, it starts to make the wrap go a bit more vulnerable, to be honest, to tears, breaks, and obviously we don't want things falling apart before we actually get it into the oven or the air fryer or whatever it is that you're going to be using. So basically what you're going to do is put filling on half of it, not overfilling it, and you're then going to put your top of the wrap across. You're going to paint it all with your whisked up egg using a little brush or a spoon. I've used a spoon before if you don't have a brush. And you're then going to crimp it round the edge, so crimping it round the very edge of the wrap using a fork, or if you have a crimper type of tool, then by all means use that. So let's get started and let's see how it all turns out. Okay guys, so I have put about half of our stewed chunky steak in the dish here, just so it's easier to sort of pop onto our wrap. I've also whisked up an egg, as we've mentioned earlier, and of course I've got my little trusty brush and spatula combo thing here, but we will just need to use the brush side of it today. So what I will say is, with regards to the meat, yes, there's a bit of gravy in there, but you don't want too much liquid in it, just because it is a wrap, it's not very absorbent, it's not the same as pastry. So like, You know, when you're buying like a steak bake, for example, from the local bakers, then you know the consistency of the pastry is much more different to this, and of course this is really quite thin, which is another reason that I said earlier that we don't really want to heat up our I mean, it's cooked already, we'd really just need to warm it through, but we really don't want to have like a hot filling going on to the wrap because it will just tear apart. And again, with regards to the amount of liquid that we put into the wrap as well before we pop it into the air fryer, we really want to make sure that we've got a really quite secure you know, kind of envelope of the wrap, including our meat. So what I'll do just now is I will probably put it on this side just so I can show you. So you can break up the bits into smaller chunks if you want. That's completely up to you. Again, as I said, you can pop different fillings in your wrap, and again, you can use bread, you can use a sandwich thin. It's completely your choice, but this is a personal favourite for me. So I'll just make sure we get all of our sort of gravy and sauce in there. And of course, if you are adding vegetables, it's wise to cook them first before you pop them in and let them sort of cool a bit, just because if you pop vegetables into something like a wrap, there's a really high risk that the water will escape from the veg and basically just make this a big mushy wet mess, which is not good. I'm going to just pop this aside. And now what we're going to do is just use our brush and we will go around the very edge border of our wrap just to make sure that we get a good seal. Again, when you're putting on your egg wash here for the seal, you will realise between now and when you're about to put it into your air fryer or your oven that the wrap, as I said, the consistency of the wrap changes and it does go a lot more sort of pasty, and that is obviously not very good for making sure that it's sealed together. So just do that, put that here. And we will fold this over. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a press down just now with my finger just to get the shape. There we go. And I'll just move that up a bit. There we go. Now I'll just get a fork. So now all we need to do is pop our egg wash, if you like, onto the top of our wrap, and this will help give it some flavour, some nice goldenness to the wrap, but it'll also help lock in the flavour from our steak that's inside. We don't want it escaping. So with regards to cooking, as I said, the meat is cooked already inside. You really are just wanting to, you know, heat it and warm it through. But you also don't want to burn your wrap either. So it's about making sure that you just sort of keep checking on it. If you're popping it into your oven, I would say probably 170 or 180 fan for probably 10 minutes. But I would check it frequently just to make sure that it's not, you know, falling to bits or burning inside. So just to help us along the way, I'll just pop a little bit of egg onto our fork, and you're going to just go round and really firmly press down your wrap edges. Now of course this is not pastry, so it won't be very obvious lines around the outside, but we'll do our best. Trying to do this around the camera, it's a bit more difficult. And of course I don't know if anyone noticed, but I've got a really sore finger, so I have managed to rip my nail across the nail bed, so nowhere near the actual end of the nail, and I am not due to get my nails done again till next week, and this has been extremely painful because it is on the actual nail bed, as I said, so it's not feeling too good, to be fair, but I don't want to make it any worse. So what we're going to do now is pop this into our air fryer. I'm going to pop it on probably 180 for maybe 3 minutes. I'll take it out and check it, I'll then pop it in again, and basically what we're wanting is for the end result to be really golden. Now the filling will be incredibly hot inside when you eat this at the end, and because it is concealed in there, what bit's popping up there? There is a steam element to be just aware of, so just to be extra careful. So what I'll do is I'll bring you back at the end once it's cooked and once we have our butternut squash and our steamed veg ready on the side. Okay, this is the finished result. So we have our butternut squash, we also have our steamed veg on there too, and we have the most important part, our beef steak bake. So very crispy, nice and golden, and it has remained crimped around the outside pretty well. Again, nice and golden. We've popped our egg onto there, so I honestly cannot wait to get started, and I'm off to enjoy dinner at the table. So if you guys make this, if you're interested at all, please let me know if you do make it. If you've made it before, let me know how it turned out. And if you have any other suggestions for me that you would like me to try to make inside a wrap, for example, to make it sin-free or low sin, then absolutely, by all means, leave me some comments in the box below. So as always, thank you so much for watching. You have witnessed a sin-free steak bake being made in my kitchen. So thank you so much, and I shall catch you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.